What is good, YouTube? It's Joey, and today we are breaking down the new rule changes. So we got quite a few here. We're gonna break them all down. Like and subscribe. Uh, we're on the road to 200 subscribers. So if you would sub, that would help a lot. Appreciate it. But anyways, we got first more help from the replay official. So the replay official is basically the referee that sees every single replay, and they basically are the ones that decide the call based on what they see in the replay. So uh, they are willing to allow the existing replay official um, to advise referees in areas of the game when the play is clear and obvious. The video evidence shows that this presents a rule, basically. So if a guy commits a penalty and the video official sees that, oh, there's evidence that there is a penalty, then that's gonna be the rule that the referee gets. So they can now advise referees if they see a ball bounce off the ground on what used to be ruled a complete catch, and if the affected coach does not challenge at all, the referee can listen to the replay official's information and decide the ruling. But they will not be able to point out mitigating factors on subjective calls such as pass interference. So, um, this is the referees are all involved and they wanted to maintain control of the game. The game should be called on the field with the support of the replay official. So, I mean, will it work? I mean, it won't hurt, but during their games, most replay officials, like, I don't know. It's just like basically the replay officials can like tell the refs kind of like what should happen, and they have kind of a bigger role now. I mean, it's not really a huge change, but I mean, it's a new rule change, but it's not like that significant. There's a lot of questionable calls that are, if there's a lot of questionable calls that are visible on the replay or on the broadcast, uh, but they can be not discussing that with the replay official. So that's just like for if they need to go replay that. But next we got the onside kick adjustment, and that's basically where they're going to bring up the rule where they have to limit the number of players in the setup zone. So you can't have all 11 players in the setup zone, it's only 9. So instead of 11 guys being able to recover the ball, there's only 9. So this means less amount of people are going to be able to recover it. So they're not trying to give the kicking team an advantage. The receiving team can only have 9 in the zone now. Um, but I mean, it kind of gives the onside kick of strategy a little bit more of a chance to work. So that is very interesting. Um, so um, yeah, that's basically the onside kick adjustment. It might give the kicking team a little bit more of an advantage, but it's nothing significant. I mean, it is significant, but it's not something that's going to change a game. Maybe one more onside kick happens or so, but it just gives the kicking team a little bit better of a chance. I would have liked it if they would have went with the 15 yards or more to get a 4th down and 15. If they get 15 yards, they convert and they get a 1st down. I would have liked that better than this new one. But again, onside kicks never work. They had to do something about it. So now we get more flexibility with numbers. I'm sure you guys saw this. So like basically a wide receiver can now wear number 7, or a safety could wear number 4. Um, so now players can just wear more single digit numbers. Single digit numbers, there's only 9 of them, and there's way more than 9 players on a team. So it's kind of going to get a little messy, like which player is going to wear what number and who's changing numbers. Linebackers, DBs, receivers, they can all wear single digits. This was proposed by the Kansas City Chiefs for running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, DBs, and linebackers, and it got approved. Tom Brady doesn't like this. He thinks it's dumb and it'll make for a lot of dumb football. Me personally, it's not really going to affect much except like the visual part of it. It's going to be weird seeing a running back wear a single digit number, maybe, but they do it in college, so it's like, does it really matter? Is it really going to change how players play? I don't really think so. Um, there's only 9 single digit numbers, so that's going to have to be worked out, but I don't think it's going to affect too much. We also have blocking below the waist. So you can block below a waist now, I think. Um, the rule would expand in the area where an offensive player can't block. Oh, so this would mean that the offensive player can't block below the waist, and defensive players can't upend offensive players who are moving toward a block in the area. So for those technically inclined, it creates a tight box. Um, so 2 yards outside the tackle and 5 yards on either side of the line of scrimmage. Beyond that, the block below the waist would be a 15-yard penalty. So basically, now you can't block below the waist. If you do that, it's now going to be a 15-yard penalty, which is very significant. In that they say this is a player safety rule, which it doesn't make sense. I don't know. The NFL hasn't revealed any injury data, so I don't know how that was an injury concern. Um, so that's it's confusing to me. I don't know if it would work. I don't really see how that could be an injury. It's going to be a rise in flags for sure. I can already see that coming because now it's less of an area where you can block a player. So I'm not really a fan of that. It's going to be more 15-yard penalties. So illegal blocks. Loss of down after 2 passes. This is the Tom Brady rule. After Tom Brady threw 2 passes for an 8-yard pass, it was just a 5-yard penalty. Replay the down. But now this is a loss of down. So now if Brady did that again on 3rd down, it would be 4th down, no 5-yard penalty, and replay 3rd down. So this is pretty minor. So again, this means a quarterback's unlikely to attempt 2 passes to a player to try to get a repeated 3rd down. This only happens if the quarterback throws the ball and a defensive player blocks it and the quarterback gets it back, which is pretty rare. So it's interesting. No overtime in the preseason. Yeah, this is obvious. Preseason doesn't really matter. Preseason's only purpose is to see the rookies and the players fighting for roster spots and just to get the players warmed up and prepared for the season. So it's not really competitive. No need for overtime. Definitely agree with that one. Now they're addressing offensive holding. So they they let a lot more holding go last year. A lot more holding. There In the spring, they were trying to understand why the holding calls just went down, and it's just the referees were not calling holding on the offensive line, so that was creating a quite a bit of issue. So now they're trying to fix that. It won't change in 21 the standard for offensive holding, but they will there will be a long video to teach officials, coaches, and players what should and shouldn't be called this season in terms of offensive holding. So material restriction is their phrase they are using, where a lineman has changed a defender's path or their angle of pursuit, making a flag based on the rule book. They said that everybody needs to understand what is going to be called in terms of offensive holding. I think this one will work because, yeah, definitely offensive holding did change quite a bit of games. Like in that NFC Championship game, I don't want to seem like a homer, but um, Tristan Wirfs did hold Rashawn Gary, allowing for Tom Brady to make that pass and not get sacked, which led to a pass interference. So that holding wasn't called, and that would have been offsetting penalties. So yeah, and that wasn't the only thing. There was a bunch of holding all season long, and it just made it that much harder to play defense. So I think this is definitely good. Makes the standard clear. Like, okay, this is what the rules are. This is clear. Um, and if you do this, then that's holding. And yeah, I think it's good because it makes it more fair on the defense. Um, Now they're doing something with taunting, um, kind of like um, in 2016, there was a lot of flags for all these celebrations, like just excessive celebrating. Then they backed off in the next year and allowed touchdown celebrations. So you see all these players just doing all these dances. But they there was only 11 taunting penalties last season, but in 2016 there were 34. But now they're not focusing on celebrations, but they're going to enforce more rules against actions that bait or engender ill will between teams. So Juju dancing on people's logos, I don't think that's a good idea. You might get flagged for that. It for example, the Ravens dancing on the Titans logo. um, the Ravens dancing on the Titans logo and the Titans dancing on the Ravens logo is would be flagged, and causing like this team to get mad and stuff like that. So um, it's going to, some players may like it, some may not, but there might be a more flag for taunting. It's not going to affect the game too much, and just move on from it. So now here's the last rule. Change its spot and choose. Um, so the Baltimore Ravens and Eagles proposed this, um, and it was passed. So the winner of an overtime coin toss would choose between deciding who will take the first possession or deciding the spot on the field where the first possession would begin. So the loser of the coin toss would make the other choice. Um, so the winner of the coin toss would choose um, who will take the first possession or deciding the spot on the field. So that's pretty interesting. So there's no one who really opposes this, the current overtime procedures, which if you win the coin toss, you get the ball, you get a touchdown, game's over. So the Ravens got this proposal up, and the team with the first possession is 9-1 in the last 10 playoff games in overtime. So like if your team loses the coin toss, the team gets the score and bam. But so basically, like if you win the coin toss, you say I start on the 15, and then the other team who lost it says, "Well, I can have the ball." So, like that's pretty interesting. The kicking team. So if you won the coin toss and the winner chooses possession, the kicking team could say, okay, you're starting on the 1 yard line. So you have to go 99 yards. So this is pretty much more fair. But if you say, oh, I want to start on the 50, then the other team says, okay, I want the ball. So this is going to make it pretty interesting. It's going to make it more entertaining. But it's not gonna fix like one possession game's over. Um, this one's um, this one's interesting. I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but I like it better than the other overtime. It's gonna make it more interesting, but that's gonna do it for these rule changes. A lot of interesting ones, a lot of minor ones, a lot of big ones. Um, NFL is always changing. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Like and subscribe. I will be live streaming the draft. I will be. I'm off next week for everything, so um, for the afternoon at least. So I'll be able to live stream the draft Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.